For me, it's radiance. I only did like a third of it. I was up there and I had to pee twice, and just the radiance. Anybody else have a experience of the change from before and after? Because that's what it's all about. If you're not experiencing a difference, it's not worth doing.
Yeah.
Radiance?
Clear. Yeah, radiant.
Yeah. So we're gonna do this every day,
Yeah.
and it will accumulate. And at the end, we'll ask that question one more time. So it's every day around this time, we're going to do that again. We keep doing it. And then at the end, we'll say, how do you feel different? All right, so does anybody have a question about, first of all, yoga means union, and all yogas are just simply different ways of experiencing the same thing, which is to wake up. So right now, I'm experiencing incredibly bright, just incredibly bright. I felt good when I came here. I just spent a half hour on this table, that's good. Kalayalani, but right now I feel incredibly bright. So it's easy to stay bright just by doing these things. So you're here studying Chinese yoga, and Chinese yoga arose out of the Tao, the Taoists in China. And Kundalini yoga arose out of some people up in the mountains of India. And all these different ways involve breathing, holding the breath, moving the breath through the energy centers, and applying locks and circulation. Isn't that about the whole thing right there, no matter which yoga? I know for Tibetan yoga, it's huge on locks. Bun yoga, huge on locks. We teach 5 kinds of yoga. Now, Hatha yoga, do they into locks much in the Hatha yoga one?
Yes.
Yeah, so locks. Chinese yoga, definitely locks. Kundalini yoga, probably the most vigorous of all the yogas, would you think? Or would you say it's tied with Tibetan yoga?
Yeah.
Probably tied with Tibetan and Bun, similar. How would you describe the difference between Tibetan and Bun? Or is there any?
It's just the Bun is more vast. It covers more territory.
More
As
vast.
far as, what I learned of the Tibetan yoga that came out of Namkhai Norbu and what I got from Tenzin, it just seems more vast. They talk
Vast.
about the 9 ways of the Bun, but probably I didn't learn all that I could have learned from the other systems. So
Right,
just what we know and what we got,
yeah.
Bun is more vast.
The 9 ways of the Bun. When are you going to teach the 9 ways of the Bun? When is that retreat?
Starts next year or the year after?
Huh?
Next year? Starts next year sometime, I don't know. I can't tell you the date. I have to.
Is it the next one or the one after that? You don't know.
No, it's several in the future.
Okay, well, I can tell you that if you want to discover the thing that is the least known and understood of all yogas, you really want to come to the Bun. Because it's a 14,000 some odd year oral tradition.
18.
No, say it again?
They say 18. 18,000.
Four?
18,000 year old tradition.
18,000 year old oral tradition.
Yep.
And it's something else. And it was the last thing, when I met Mursshud, I was able to pass on all of the ones except the Bun. I'd already met Namkhai Norbu. So I was able to pass all those on. But I had never been able to find a bun teacher. And I knew that was gonna be the, you know, the cherry on top of the whipped cream, on top of the ice cream, on top of the cake. But it was just really hard to find, and we found one together. And then he invited us to his apartment and in Houston, and we spent a few days with him there, and some very interesting things happened, which really put a cap on the entire, what we call the comprehensive course. This 5-year program of 3 esoteric paths and 5 yogas. I mean, that's the way I describe it. So I just want to show you a couple of things about Chinese yoga or Tao yoga. Imagine that you're in a door. Like, say, you're right in a door and it's say a pantry. So it's not that wide. And you have your hands up on the door like this. And you're kind of leaning in. You follow what I'm saying? You just do that, just kind of lean in. And now, raise your hands higher and then lean in and glide them down. And do that 3 times. And stretch as much as you can and really lean in. Let that door push. Glide it down. To where you're about like this. Okay, now we're going to add to that an inhale before we do it, a hold at the top, and then an exhale as we're sliding down. Now feel how you feel. Do you feel different? I feel different.
Yes.
I think how simple that was. Think about how simple that was. And think of how many doors in your life that you could actually do that with a real door. This is door sex. Because yoga means union. Sex is union. Union. Right? Where you just feel whole. Union. Okay, now we're going to add the third part. So, we're going to stand up this time. And we got our door here. I mean, do it with the door. It's cool with the door, but it's not necessary if you really get the idea. So you're going to go. It's going to go like this. Now, feel different? Mm-hmm. So, I didn't tell you what to do, but did you notice what I was doing? I was holding the breath further and further down. In other words, there's no rule about let it go at a certain point. But you're standing with the door here, and you go like this, and you're up. Now you're in the door, and you're really leaning in, so this is pushing back. And you've inhaled, very powerful, and then Now, so you feel. All right. That's like the secret. There's always like the outer, the inner. Well, the outer, and then the middle,
Inner secret.
and then the inner, and then the secret. That's the secret. In other words, the entire course that you're studying here of Chinese yoga, that is the secret. So if you just do this, like, say, start out like, pick a day to start, and do it 20 times a day, intensely. And you know, so I did first threes of 3, so you know, there's never like how many to do, but just pick a day and start and do it 20 times a day. And then however many repetitions you do, or how big your breath gets, or how much you're pushing against the door, or how far you go down while you're holding, is up to you. And then how many repetitions is up to you. So the repetitions in one thing is up to you, but pick a day where you're going to do it 20 times in a day. It's not going to really cramp your style because it only takes like 3 minutes to do. So I'm not telling you to do that, but if you want to experience something amazing, try that 20 times, intensely. And you do it as many times within your time. You can do it 40 times within your 1, and 2 times within your 2, and 15 times within your 3. It doesn't matter. As long as you do it 20, and you do it, you give it everything you got, and you really work with the 3 elements of it, which are swoosh, element 1, holding and really pushing. See, I'm leaning into that door, so I'm simulating leaning into the door by pulling back like this. Because if the door were there, I'd be leaning. So this is 1, 2, 3, and then, of course, 4. There's always the 4th, but it's not a real. It's not a 4. It's like 1, 2, 3, and then the. It's always like that. There's 1, 2, 3, and then the one that doesn't exist, but it's the passage through the eye of the needle. The movement through the invisible wall. Okay, that's what I wanted to offer you today with the main event. Christina, I'm so proud of you. Shanti, thank you. She keep reminding me. I asked her to remind me because I've called her Christina for so long, and Christina is a beautiful